Hey guys, by now you should have read all of Section 5, which will have completed your air brake section. We just have one set of questions to answer for you before we move on. Number 1. Why should you be in the proper gear before starting down a hill? So you should be in the proper gear before starting down a hill for the main reason being to use the braking effects of the engine. What does that mean? Which means, say going downhill, the speed limit is 35 miles an hour. Now you can be in ninth gear, for instance, on a 10-speed transmission, where the maximum speed in ninth gear would be around 45 miles an hour, and you can hit the brake to get you down to that 35. Or you can simply just put it into 7th gear, which will the maximum be around 35 miles an hour anyway, so you really don't have to hit the brake to slow you down, which will then save your brakes and not heat them up so much. Some other answers you might have written down, which would not have been correct for this question, would be because you can't downshift going downhill. Now it is very difficult to downshift going down a hill, but the most correct answer for this question would be to use the braking effects of the engine. So keep that in mind anytime you see multiple choice a question like this on the test. Number 2. What factors can cause brakes to fade or to fail? In most cases, brake failure or fade comes from overheating. Now you have to ask yourself, well, John, how does my brakes overheat? Your brakes overheat when you use them too many times. Perfect example is if you're not in a proper gear before going down a hill, which means in order for you to be in the proper speed limit, you're going to be stomping on your brakes to slow yourself down, which is then going to in turn heat up your brakes, which then you will have a higher chance of fading your brakes or having your brakes fail. So keep that in mind next time you decide to go down a hill not being in the proper gear. Number 3. The use of brakes on a long steep downgrade is only a supplement to the braking effects of the engine. True or false? Now before we answer this question, let's define the word supplement. Supplement can be defined as it completes or enhances the situation. So if we switch the word from supplement to enhances, the use of brakes on a long steep downgrade only enhances the braking effects of the engine, which means it's not a substitute, it just makes things better. So in that case, the answer is true. So just to clarify, you don't do one or the other. You don't use the braking effects of the engine or press on your foot brake. You use both, because one enhances the other. Just to make sure that's clear. Number 4. If you're away from your vehicle only a short time, you do not need to use the parking brake. True or false? This is a pretty silly question. Well, the answer is clearly false. The reason is, anytime you leave the vehicle, for whatever reason whatsoever, you must apply the parking brakes. You definitely do not want a vehicle rolling off on you and you having to chase it down a hill sometime, whether it's 5 minutes or whether it's all night long. Always use the parking brakes if you get out of the vehicle. Number 5. How often should you drain air tanks? Well, air tanks should be drained daily. Okay? The reason is you're going to have, like we talked about before, water and oil mixed up inside of those air tanks. So those air tanks should be drained at the end of the night. In a case where you forget to drain air tanks, water in the cold weather during the wintertime can turn into what? That's right, ice. So imagine ice getting clogged up inside of your airlines. No air will be able to pass through those airlines, which means you can never release your brakes, which means you're a sitting duck. Alright? So it is very important that you drain your air tanks at the end of every day, not in the morning. Because if you wait till the morning, there is a high chance that you will already be frozen. So drain your air tanks at the end of every day. Number 6. How should you brake when you drive a tractor-trailer combination with ABS? quick answer to this one is you should brake normally. Okay? Doesn't matter whether you have ABS or no ABS, brake like you always would. Number 7, you still have normal brake functions if your ABS is not working. True or false? The answer is true. If your ABS is not working, you can still hit the brakes just like normal. Okay? Well, that completes all of the questions in Section 5, which covers air brakes. Again, Section 5 is everything that you're going to need in order for you to pass your written exam at motor vehicles. Air brakes is a very important thing to know because most CDL vehicles operate with air brakes. Okay? So I hope this was helpful for you. Please, again, ask any instructors any questions you might have about anything. We're here to help you out. So let's move on to the next assignment. Congratulations. Thanks.